going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin with the Take. Hope we're all doing well. As you can see, I'm once again in the different location. Simply because there's less windows over here, I don't want to look at the smog that is out there. When I'm usually upstairs in my house, I'm looking at my side door. It's a glass door. I can see everything outside. I don't want to look at that. Speaking of the smog, people on both sides of the border, please stay safe. I recommend you stay inside. The air quality really isn't good right now. Anyway, let's talk some baseball. Scores from yesterday: Phillies over the Tigers 1-0. Rays over the Twins 7-0. Diamondbacks over the Nationals 10-5. Blue Jays over the Astros 5-1. Reds over the Dodgers 9-8. Brewers over the Orioles 4-3. Giants over the Rockies 10-4. Mariners over the Padres 4-1. Marlins over the Royals 6-1. They continue to play well. Ryan for 2-4. He's hitting 401 on the season. It is June 7th. Luis Arias hitting 401 for the Miami Marlins. What a pickup he has been. He's having some year. White Sox over the Yankees 3-2. Yankees offense is in a bit of a slump. And they just lost Aaron Judge, actually. He was placed on the IL today. He's got a sprained and bruised right big toe after he crashed into the fence in right field at Dodger Stadium and made that great catch. Athletics over the Pirates 11-2. Red Sox over the Guardians 5-4. Braves over the Mets 6-4. Mets took a 4 lead. I was they're going to win. Then they gave up 5 unanswered. Mets continue to struggle. Now a game under 500. Couple of 6.5 games behind Atlanta in National League East. Now in third place. Rangers over the Cardinals 6-4. Angels over the Cubs 7-4. We had some bad news. Jacob deGrom is having Tommy John surgery, so he's out for the season. Probably out most of next year as well. Of course, he had a legendary career with the Mets for a long time. Won 2 Cy Young, but has had so many injuries, so many shoulder and elbow problems the last couple of years. Texas Rangers gave him a 5-year, $185 million contract. I heard it was not insured because apparently they would have had to pay so much money to have the contract insured just in case something like this happened. So I chose not to. So they're on the hook for that whole thing now. And it's really a shame. Obviously, as a Met fan, I love DeGrom when he was with the Mets. Always classy. You had, Mets always hyped up Syndergaard. They always hyped up Matt Harvey. They always hyped up Stephen Matz. I always top pitching prospect. Syndergaard, a couple of good years, then he flamed out. He was always running his mouth. Harvey had a couple of good years and flamed out. Matz flamed out pretty quick. But DeGrom, who was not that highly touted, he was, Matz was a first-round pick. Matt Harvey, I believe, was a first-round draft pick. Syndergaard was a top prospect they got in the trade, and they trade R.I. Dickey coming off a Cy Young almost years ago. DeGrom was not that high of a draft pick. He didn't even pitch for I think the beginning of his college career. He came out a shortstop. That's why he was always such a good hitter for a pitcher, because he was a hitter for until about until he got to college. He was a shortstop in high school. He even the minor league, in the minor leagues, he didn't put up any eye-popping numbers. And the Mets caught him up, I think, in 2014. They sucked and they were out of the race. All right, let's give this kid a shot. And he just flipped the switch and turned into a great pitcher. He was an all-star by his second year in 2015. And by, 2017, he had established himself as one of the league's best pitchers. And by 2018, by the end of that season, he had that crazy year in 2018 where he had substitute ERA. He won the Cy Young, and by the time 2019 started, he was the consensus #1 pitcher in the entire league. But there's so many injuries. It's a shame. I feel bad for the guy. If he asked me 3 years ago, I would say first ballot Hall of Famer. Maybe not if he retired right then and there. But just the way he's going, I had no doubt he was going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. 48 was going to be retired, and in Citi Field. It still may or may not be. I don't know. It's a whole other discussion that's another talk for another day. It's definitely going to be a Hall of Famer. It's a shame that the Mets had such bad teams when he was here. Shame he won't, get a World Series ring or even pitching in the playoffs that much outside of 2015, his second year in the league. When they went to the World Series, and then obviously last year he pitched the one game when they lost in the first round. But every Mets fan saw this coming. he was. I knew when he got the contract. I knew it wasn't going to work. I didn't expect him to even make 20 starts at any point during this contract, and I definitely don't know. This guy, remember, he had Tommy John when he was in the minor league, so that's probably over 10 years ago. Pitched God knows how many innings for the Mets. Over the last 2 or 3 years, had so many injury issues. In 2021, he only made 15 starts. And the first, the 2.5 months that he was healthy, 2.5 3 months he was healthy that year was maybe the best 2.5 3 months of I've ever seen a pitcher pitch ever. He had like a year it was like 1.15 or something in 15 starts or something like that. Or like man, he had barely or like 1 or 1.1 in his first 15 starts. He nearly had like 0.5 through his first like 6 or 8 starts. He only made 15 starts that year. Last year, he only made 11 starts. He got hurt in spring training and just couldn't. Took him a while to get back. He didn't debut until like the first or second week in August. Only made 11 starts last year. His first couple, he just looked unhittable. In his next few, kind of struggled. He did pitch. He in game 2 against San Diego did pitch pretty well, but overall was kind of up and down in his 11 starts. Didn't pitch well against Atlanta in that series that they need to win. When they got swept, and he goes to Texas. First couple of starts was kind of the guy coming off a couple injury plagued years, new team. All right, so gauging, and then he got hurt. They said he'll be out 2 to 3 weeks, and then we fast forward 5.5 weeks later, he's still out. And they moved him to the 60-day IL, which doesn't mean much. It means he's just not out. He's now just kind of like shuffling around their roster. It made them not eligible. It made him not eligible to come off for only in their 3 weeks. So like, all right, maybe he was somewhat close. Hopefully within the 3 weeks to get back, and now they announced he had Tommy John. It's a shame. You saw at the press conference today, he was very emotional. He said, he said this sucks. He's hoping to come back by the end of next season. He probably, based off Tommy John recoveries, most of them are 12 to 15 months. So the earliest he can come back is probably maybe All-Star break-ish next year. But, for a guy who's, 34, 35 years old, has had so many injuries, it's probably going to be close to the 15 months. So DeGrom, maybe we see him in September next year, but I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't pitch next year, to be honest. We may not see him until 2025. He could be a guy, maybe they can bring him in like August, maybe in late August or at some point September. If DeGrom has his way, he'll probably get back there in some capacity, even if he's maybe they use him for 4 or 5 innings, or use him at the Texas use him at the bullpen down the stretch last year at some point in September, to the point where he's stretched out just enough they can give him maybe 5 innings to start in the playoffs if they qualify next year. But if you ever Texas doctors, it's like, all right, we already wasted 2 years of this guy. They're paying him God knows what, 37 or 38 million, almost $40 million a year. They're paying him $37 million a year for 2027. They already wasted the first 2. Let's not waste the rest of the contract, at least not right away, by bringing him back to early. And some Texas, I wouldn't be surprised if they sit him down the whole season, unless he really shows you something in his recovery and he really gets back quick, and you think you can get him back by September. But it's a shame, but the writing was kind of on the wall. I don't know if this is the end of DeGrom or what he's going to look like when he comes back, if he does. But it really is a shame. The guy who was so dominant at one point. He was the best pitcher in baseball by a mile a couple of years ago. Like what he did in 2018 was incredible, especially considering he got no run support and the Mets bullpen behind him would blow every game. Like that was maybe the best pitching seasons I've ever seen. Like he was literally a lock to go 7 innings. If he gave up 2 runs, you would wonder what's wrong with him. Like it's crazy. And in 2019, was just as good. Even in the pandemic, he had like 1 or 2 starts late in that season that probably cost him another Cy Young. 6-game season, who cares? And in 2021, the first half of that year, before he got hurt, was the best half, probably the best half of the season I've ever seen a pitcher pitch. He was literally unhittable. He had like an ERA of 1.1 in 15 starts. too many injuries, unfortunately. He threw so many innings. I mean, he had Tommy John in the minors. He threw a lot in the minors. He didn't get called up till he was like 25 or 26 years old. So he threw a lot. He threw a lot more innings than most people do in the minor leagues. He had Tommy John when he was in the minor leagues. He threw so many innings for the Mets. At the early part of his career because they were so bad, they needed him to go 7 innings every single time. So he probably between 2018 and 2019, I wouldn't be surprised if he threw close to 450 innings between those 2 seasons. And it just took a toll on him. I guess I don't know. Last bit of baseball news: Alek Manoah has been opted to rookie ball, not to AAA, all the way down to rookie ball. Manoah, he was emerging heading to the season as one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. He was called up, I think, middle of the season in 2021. Pitched really well last year. Had a monster year. Kind of started him in the American League Cy Young voting. But he's been absolutely horrible this season. He has a 6.36 ERA at this point. He gave up 7 runs in just a third of an inning. He recorded just 1 total out in his last start last week or a few days ago. Didn't even make it out of the first inning. And they're sending him back all the way to rookie ball. That's like the lowest level of minor leagues. Like once guys get drafted, that's where they start in rookie ball. And then you make your way up to low A and high A and double A, triple A of the major leagues. Because he went all the way down to rookie ball. Something's definitely wrong. I don't know if he's dealing with something. If he's pitched through an injury, but he doesn't want to sit out. Or there might. I would be probably there's something that the Toronto Blue Jays know that we don't know because I don't know how you got a guy like Manoah who has a sub 3 ERA in 2 years in the league. It was as dominant as was last year. As close as he was to possibly being in the conversation for maybe the league's second, one of the 2 or 3 best pitchers in baseball. I think he's a guy that could possibly get there for the next 2 years. As confident as he is on that mound, and just to have an ERA over 6 in the first week in June is just unheard of. So hopefully he gets right. On to hockey, we got a big trade in the NHL. The Philadelphia Flyers, Columbus Blue Jackets, and the Los Angeles Kings make a 3-team trade. It was a little bit weird. Columbus picks up Ivan Provorov from the Philadelphia Flyers. He's a defenseman. Didn't have a great year last year, an okay year last year. Probably needed a change of scenery. The Flyers get the 22nd overall pick in the draft. They get the Kings stuck around there next year. They get the Columbus is stuck around that year next year or in 2025, depending on certain things. They get Cal Pearson, who's a veteran goalie from the Kings. Kings also send them Trey Walker, who's a veteran defenseman. He's a solid stay-at-home defenseman. Had 13 points last year. He's a solid stay-at-home defensive defenseman. He'll probably be on their third pairing. They also get a prospect. The Kings pick up 2 prospects. They also retain 30% of Provorov's salary. They actually just re-signed a young defenseman, Vlad Gavrikov. They got him in the trade with Columbus at the trade deadline. He played pretty well for them. He got a 2-year deal with $11.7 million. They got $5.8 million, a little just over that per year. I don't think they had the cap space to re-sign him. So this deal was just opening up cap space. So Philly moves a guy in Provorov who probably needs to change the scenery. They get back a bunch of draft picks. They get back a couple of players. They get back a guy in Walker who they can plug in right away. He's still young. They get back a prospect. Cal Pearson's got a terrible contract. He's making $5 million a year, I think, for the next 2 years. He's a terrible goalie. It's weird. I heard the Flyers are actually looking to trade Carter Hart. They just need to rebuild the Flyers. They've been so bad for so long. They've been irrelevant for so long. And so, for Columbus, they pick up a player that they think can help them right now. Guy need to change the scenery. In the right spot could probably be a really good defenseman. We're going to offer the defenseman at least. The Flyers, commence in a rebuild. They pick up a couple of young players. They pick up a bunch of draft picks. And the Kings, all right, you ship out Cal Peterson. You get rid of his contract. So you're able to. And then you move Sean Walker. Probably didn't really need him, especially with you still have Drew Doughty there. Now you re-sign Gavrikov. You pick up a couple of prospect for to give you some depth, and now you take 30% of Provorov's contract, but at the end of the day, it opened up cap space to re-sign Vlad Gavrikov. They just didn't want to give up all the picks they gave up for Columbus for Gavrikov, just for him to play for half a season, the one playoff round they were in, and then leave. So Columbus gets a quality player. Flyers get some draft picks and some young players. Kings open up cap space for the Gavrikov contract. To basketball, the Washington Wizards might be rebuilding. Also they just brought in Clippers GM Michael Winger as their team president of basketball operations. He has a lot of power in that organization now. A lot of executives think that could be a complete rebuild. I heard a week or two ago, like right after they hired him, I heard a lot of executives wouldn't be surprised if they were aggressive in free agency. We'll see what happens. Also we'll see what happens with Bradley Beal, if he's traded or not. We'll see, will they re-sign Kristaps Porzingis? I'm sure he'll have a lot of interest in free agency. What do I do with, Dinwiddie? Is he a guy who I think they need a long-term piece or more of a trade chip? Actually, no, excuse me, he's in Dallas now. He hasn't been in like 2 years. But all these other guys, that they got over there, they drafted Johnny Davis in the first round last year. They didn't really plan that much. We shall see what happens. Are the Shorthorns leaning towards drafting Brandon Miller or Scoot Henderson, second pick? I think Scoot's a generational talent. He'd be number one pick in a lot of our drafts. And with Shaw, because they already have LaMelo Ball as a really good young point guard, having two point guards who like to have the ball in their hands, and they're kind of similar players in LaMelo Ball and Scoot, may not make a lot of sense. And might be a better fit. Brandon might be a better fit, but Scoot is definitely, I think, a better prospect than Brandon Miller. I'm hearing the Brooklyn Nets are expected to match pretty much any reasonable offer sheet for Cameron Johnson, which I don't blame them. Yeah, I think they're a really good young player, plays both ends. He's trying to keep him. He's one of the pieces they got for in the Kevin Durant trade. DeAndre Hopkins, former Cardinals and Texas receiver, just got cut by Arizona. He's visiting the Tennessee Titans. Hearing a lot of stuff. I heard that 3 suitors could. Rappaport said 3 big suitors could be Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs, and New England Patriots. But I've also heard that the Bills and Chiefs are out on them. I feel like they have the cap space, especially the Bills. And so I heard the Cleveland Browns. I know Deshaun Watson wants to reunite with him in Cleveland. He wants him there, but I haven't really heard the Browns throw their name into the ring looking to sign him. I think it's really Deshaun Watson wanting him, not really the front office really wanting him. Also, the front office is wanting him, what matters. Now he's visiting the Titans. I mean, obviously he did that. He was on that podcast where he said, he would want to. He was a free agent. He'd want to play with a great quarterback and on a very good team. They got to have a really good defense. They're going to write the Bills, the Chiefs, the Eagles. They all fit that mold. But now he went on another podcast like last week and said, I just want to be wanted. That I don't really care who I'm playing with. So that makes teams like the New England Patriots, more of a suitor. There was a speculation he could go, but Jets. Robert Saleh said not going to happen. We're happy with our current wide receiver group. There was speculation he could go to the Giants. I heard Giants are not going to sign him. So right now, there is not a lot of teams that are looking at him. Cap space. Well, I know the Patriots have about $14 million left in cap space, so that they can probably afford him. I think he's looking for about $15 million. And we'll see what happens with Tennessee. And Tennessee, I don't really want to go there. It's not very. I don't think they're very good. But if he's got probably 2 or 3 elite years left, I don't think he'd want to go to a Super Bowl contender. But if he doesn't think that's possible, I guess just go take a 1 year somewhere, go down there and have a big year. Maybe get one more big contract next year. Maybe on a shorter deal. Maybe get one more big 3-year deal next year with a contender. So we'll see what happens. Robert Saleh canceled mini camp from the Jackets. It's like this 4-day mini camp. Right before training camp starts. I don't think it's a big deal. The players can still practice on their own, go to the facility, is one of those. And Josh Allen has been picked as the Madden 24 cover athlete. Look, I don't got a problem with Josh Allen. I actually really like Josh Allen. I think he's a great player. I think he's a great dude. But to be the cover of Madden, I don't know. I mean, unless like they're releasing edition of the Madden 24, can't beat the Chiefs edition. I guess I would have put you don't want to put Mahomes on there again. He's already been on there twice. I'm not sure who you would have put on there. RG3 said it should have been DeMar Hamlin. I wouldn't have been against that after everything that happened. He's how quick he was able to recover. I heard he was a full participant at OTAs, and looks like he's going to play for the Bills this year. All he's done in the community before was even like really since he was in college, what he's continuing to do. How that whole thing brought people together. I heard now he's doing something to like train young people on like CPR training, which I think is really cool. I wouldn't be against DeMar Hamlin being on the cover. I don't know. I mean, look, I don't know how they choose the Madden cover athlete. I'm not sure. I think I know for whatever reason I don't think they do a very good job of picking the cover athlete. I really think a lot of guys say no, they don't want to do it because there's like the whole like Madden curse. You had Peyton Hillis was a great running back for the Cleveland Browns. He had a big season. We put him on, and he fell off a cliff. Antonio Brown was on it twice, and he just lost his mind and ruined his career. And for whatever reason, a lot of times when they put a guy on the Madden cover, like the next year they don't play or they get hurt or their career falls apart. It's weird. Kind of like the Drake curve. Like every player who like took a picture of Drake, like he ended up not winning a championship or losing in the playoffs or something happened. Besides Kawhi Leonard, Kawhi, I guess, is just apparently he's immune to the Drake curse. I don't know what's up with that. But back on topic, Josh Allen's the Madden 24 cover. It is what it is. I mean, he's a great player. There could have been better choices, but I don't know. It is what it is. To golf. So Jay Monahan held his meeting yesterday. Didn't go too well. It was a lot of anger. It was a lot of tension, a lot of unhappiness. Apparently, there was some random player, named was Johnson Wagner. He said something, and then Rory McIlroy, who obviously we knew would be involved in this, he told him just to play better. We don't really know what happened before that, but that's a remark that Rory made to Johnson Wagner. Wagner, he said like the previous comments that Monahan said like anyone who took the live money would never play in the PGA Tour again, which of course he's going against. He said apparently that was great with applause. Then apparently Rory told Grayson Murray. Apparently Murray was criticizing Jay Monahan, but then Rory told him just play better. We don't know what happened in between Wagner's criticism of Monahan and Rory's comment, but apparently he told him to go play better. And then Murray told McIlroy to F off, except he did not say F. But being said later, Wesley Bryan, who's another PGA Tour player, said after the meeting they were cordial and pleasant, and those two and a bunch of the players were talking after the meeting, and they're laughing about it, and it appears that they have any beef and they are fine now. Yeah, I heard the meeting didn't go so well. Jay Monahan said that like he is accepting that he will be labeled a hypocrite. He says he insists the players who stay loyal to the PGA Tour, who feel slighted, made the right move. He said that they have helped re-architect the future of the PGA Tour. They have moved us to a more competitive model. And obviously they are moving forward with this merger. Rory McIlroy actually said he did like the merger, as the merger is good for golf, but he still hates live golf. Is what it is. Well, it'd be interesting, if like Rory and Phil Mickelson have to tee off, or if a live guy and a PGA have to tee off together now. That would be very, very interesting. By the way, Greg Norman, his name was not mentioned at all in this. So I don't think it is. that bad of a move. He really didn't do a good job. I mean, Liv was. I think another reason why PGA guys are upset because they're like Liv was dead in the water, and you basically threw him a light bulb. I mentioned that yesterday. But they were charging people $3 to watch their matches on YouTube. Their TV deals with the CW. They couldn't even get a big time network to broadcast their golf events. It's like that would it's almost like, all right, if like the Yankees were competing for World Series and the Red Sox were just like in complete turmoil, like they had a terrible team, they had like look, they were going to suck for 5 years, and then the Yankees were like, oh, here's you can just have Aaron just for free, so it's more fair. I think they're like they're dead in the water. Why throwing them a life jack, considering they're our rival? And PGA Tour president Jay Monahan has obviously been said, anyone who goes there, you're off the PGA Tour. You can't play on the tour anymore. I think as time went on, he kind of lightened up because at first he was like, he bashed it over and over and over again, and then and then when Liv Tour, filed a lawsuit against him, he was like, it's gonna be fine. And then he bashed him. He said, like, anyone who goes to Liv and takes the money, your PGA Tour is gonna be revoked. You won't be able to play the PGA Tour again. You can't play in the event. You can't play in the Ryder Cup. Things like, all right, if you qualify for the majors, you can play in the majors. And obviously, eventually came to here we are in a merger. Last couple of things I want to say, rest in peace to Iron Sheik, the legendary Hall of Fame wrestler, passed away today at age 81. Rest in peace to the Iron Sheik, one of the all-time greats. And I don't cover soccer. I don't even totally know what this means, but Lionel Messi, one of the great soccer players of all time, and I believe, if any soccer fans out there disagree with me, but I believe he is the consensus number one soccer player in the world right now. He is coming to the MLS. He is signing up Inter Miami a couple of teams. I think some soy team was going after him. Some other team was going after him. Barca or something. The best, he is coming to the MLS. He is signing with Inter Miami. That's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long. Have a great day.